Hi, I'm Arthur E. Benjamin, and I'm alongside Farah White, and we're here to tell you some more incredible animal stories, especially about rescue. And Farah, we have two really incredible guests today.
We do have some amazing guests. Susan Gregory, who's a huge advocate for dogs here in Dallas. She actually founded Dallas Animal Advocates. And Jody Jones, sitting right next to her, who's the manager of Dallas Animal Services, which is a fantastic shelter here in Dallas. So you two, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And before we get into it, you should also introduce who else you brought.
Oh, well, we brought a very shy Jasper who was at one time roaming the streets in West Dallas and who now lives with me.
Is it true that Jasper is a leprechaun?
Yes, it has been determined that
a cross between a Bichon and a leprechaun.
Yes, sir.
Well, he's magic in your life.
Yes, he has. He's magical experience with his dog.
Well, Susan, tell us about your mission behind Dallas Animal Advocates.
Well, our mission is we want Dallas to be a kinder place. Dallas, the area that Dallas Animal Services serves, we want it to be a kinder place for animals. Really feel like at this point so many animals are allowed to be born and then killed just for being born. So we're still finding our way, but we're basically the friends of group for the shelter, and because we have a new advocate at the shelter, we're able to do more. So basically we help them with a lot of their needs. We want the experience for the dogs to be as comfortable as possible, and of course the cats, and so we bring in beds, and we'll be starting some other programs soon too, and want to encourage the staff whenever we can, so we bring in a few lunches and things like that, and decorations to make the shelter maybe look a little bit more appealing to people when they come in, because it's kind of gray.
You know, I think the important thing is it's not their fault they're born.
Exactly.
It's our fault they're born.
It's the community's fault.
And then we punish them by putting them down.
Right.
And it's a terrible thing because there are tens of thousands of dogs that are put down in the Dallas area. And we can make the difference. We truly can make the difference. With spay and neuter programs and with responsible pet ownership, it would alleviate so much of the stress on the shelter, because the dogs just keep coming and there's nowhere for them to go unless we can find them all homes. And so we do, I know you do lots of things for them. So why don't you tell us about a few of them?
Well, I also work with another group that is strictly spay and neuter, Metroplex Animal Coalition, and so the two groups are kind of like sister groups, so we'll often at our events we'll be handing out their spay and neuter coupons, you know, because obviously you have to do the prevention, but we're also trying to get more into some educational type events and events where you're out in the communities where the problems are really generated. A good many of them are being generated, and you know, starting to work with them more to make a difference and have them change their attitude toward it, because right now it's not important enough for them to do anything about it.
So if somebody wanted to spay or neuter their animal, they actually could go about getting it at a reduced rate or for free?
Yes, in the city of Dallas there's a program that's working now called the Big Fix, and we can offer, at least at this point in time, we can offer a free spay or neuter with vaccinations at several of our partner vets, and like the SPCA's veterinary clinic, KCAP, TCAP, those types of individuals.
So that's an opportunity right now. So if someone's watching the show that's thinking, maybe I should spay or neuter my cat or dog, they should get in touch with.
And here, well, they can get in touch with MetroplexAnimalCoalition.org, and their phone number's on the site as well. Another really cool thing, something that's never happened before, is that we were able to set up spay-neuter clinics at Dallas Animal Services and utilize their clinic, and we did almost 70 dogs last month. We've got another one coming up in April, and we're trying to get something scheduled every month, and we're bringing in the low-cost mobile clinics like KCAP and TCAP. They actually are doing the work for us. We schedule the appointments and are working with them, and we got really had an amazing turnout. I think all but 6 dogs were from the city of Dallas, and some really needed the help. I mean, there was a whole family, cousins, and a whole lineage of bloodhound mixes that came in. It was so awesome. They were just too big for the cages almost. They were that big. But they got sterilized, and we microchipped them thanks to our cooperation with the shelter, you know, things that, because there are dogs that are, so many dogs that are just roaming the streets, they never actually make it to the shelter. You know, so there's people out there that are trying to help them.
Well, the collaboration efforts have just been phenomenal. Dallas is just a wonderful community. There are so many resources for animals and so many opportunities for partnerships that benefit the animals and the people in the community so that we can make it a much more humane community here in Dallas. We're really excited about the opportunities to work together.
You know, and I just want to add that it is possible to make this difference. I was telling you a little bit earlier, in the Salt Lake County area, Salt Lake City, Utah, they have made the difference where their euthanasia rates and live return rates have gone from where you were to where you'd like to be, and it's because of cooperation. It's because of all of the organizations working together and people supporting those organizations, because every organization does it a little differently and people have their own personal commitments to organizations. But it's great what we're doing here. It is phenomenal what's happening in the Dallas community.
It is. Because how many animals do you think you take in a year?
Well, in the Dallas Animal Services takes in about 30,000 animals a year. About 28,000 of those are dogs and cats, because we also handle wildlife emergency situations too. But it's important to recognize that, you know, to your point, is that it does take a village. You know, I heard JP saying, you know, in one of the other segments, and it's always been my motto, there's no one organization or person that can solve this problem. It's a community problem. We've got to all work together to come up with some positive solutions and really make a difference, such as happened in Salt Lake.
What really pains me, and it truly is a pain, is that when I go down to visit dogs at a county or city shelter and I walk through, I know that 1 out of 2 will not make it out. And that's all of our responsibility. And it's very personal for me, because I'm looking in the eyes of 2 dogs and I don't know which one, but one of them isn't going to be there. Or 2 cats, and it's more likely less of them will make it out.
It is. It's heartbreaking work. You know, as I said, one of the things, and I don't know, it's the happiest or the saddest parts of the job being in such a large animal sheltering organization is it's often the kindest and best days of these animals' lives are the days that they spend here with us. It's often the first time that they've had shelter over their head for, you know, several days consistently, you know, 3 square meals a day consistently. And when you think about that, you know, we have our pampered pooches like Jasper here, and then you think about that has been the best couple of days for some of those animals. It really is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is. I remember actually as a child, because we would go to shelters, actually the pound, right? To go pick up, we wanted to get a dog, and I'd gone with my brother who's a little bit older, and so we're walking through, and you know, as a small child, I'm immediately drawn to the puppy, right, the sweet little puppy. And my brother said, no, 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 let's not get that one. Go look at this one over here, because this one's so ugly, no one's going to adopt him, and he's going to die. And he wasn't ugly, he just wasn't, you know, cleaned and groomed, and he just had a lot of character. You know?
All of the dogs I've adopted have been a year or older, and it's amazing because, as I showed you earlier with Jasper, he's been trained to sit. And you can bring it back out of them very easily. My dog Tex is a full-sized boxer, 80 pounds, and he, within 2 days, responded to a plethora of commands, like 20 different commands, and nobody ever knew he was trained. He was perfectly trained, just nobody brought it out of him. So you can get a great dog, 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, with 5, 6, 7, 8 years left in them, and they become an instant loving member of your family, as opposed to a puppy that you have a lot of work to do.
I think that's an excellent point, you know, in helping people understand the value of adopting from a shelter as opposed to, you know, purchasing a pet, you know, or going out and taking a neighbor's puppy, you know, besides the point that we want to promote spaying and neutering for responsible pet ownerships. And it is a requirement here in the city of Dallas that you have your pet neutered, or that you file for an exceptions permit and take a class about responsible pet ownership. But also about the value of adopting from a shelter. These animals, you know, some people you hear, oh, you know, I wouldn't go to a shelter, you know, they're damaged goods. They're not. I mean, you're getting beautiful, sweet animals that really deserve an opportunity to be in a loving home. Again, we often lead very busy lives today, and, you know, it's really hard to find the amount of time time and patience that it takes to raise a puppy in a household. Where a year-old dog or older, you know, they've already got their housebreaking taken care of. They've already got, I often say their brains have caught up with their bodies, you know, and you can start with some of that training and behavior shaping that really helps them integrate into your home quickly.
And people don't realize how much trouble puppies can be and how much of a skill it is to raise and train a dog. And while it's a good experience, and there are puppies that you have to decide not only what age dog is right for your family, but what size and breed dog is right for your family, because and you can go online and look at every breed. And a Beagle is very different than a Greyhound, is very different than a German Shepherd, and each one fits a different family.
Right. That is so true. You know, it's a lifetime commitment. You know, as I said, hopefully your animal's going to be with you 15 to 20 years if you're lucky. So you really do want to put a lot of research, time, and knowledge into looking at, you know, what is your lifestyle now? What is it likely to be 5 years from now? Because, you know, what you're doing now, you know, that dog is going to be with you 5 years from now. So what are you going to be doing then? Do you want that dog that's going to need to go running with you daily, you know, or do you want that dog that's going to be a couch potato, kind of like Jasper here, you know, and it's going to be, you know, happy sitting at home with you.
Sure. Well, and people need to take that into consideration because, you know, so many people here live in apartments or townhomes, and, you know, a lot of people do have houses with yards. But that leads us to the fencing around yards, and you know how
While you're talking about fencing, I'm going to take Jasper's pulse because I don't believe Jasper.
No,
Jasper, do you have a pulse?
I was sleeping.
So I'm so relaxed. Arthur has that effect. He's very relaxing.
So tell us about the fence program. It's a really important program.
Well, and that's from DAA's perspective, I think would be better to talk about.
Well, one of the things that we wanted to do when we started the group is help people comply with the ordinances, and the ordinances say you can't tether your dog. A lot of people simply can't afford to get a proper fence, or their fence needs repairing or something like that. So we have repaired fences and so on. We do for individuals around who we believe will be good pet owners, or who are good pet owners, but they have to spay and neuter their animal and be current on their vaccinations, and that's been kind of a problem.
So
and we've had people that simply won't do it.
So you help repair their fence if they're willing to spay and neuter and comply with the ordinance.
And we'll get them a free spay and neuter and so on. You know, it's we've had some very good situations with that and some very bad ones. That's one thing that we're really learning, you know. But one of our board members had a fabulous idea just to keep a dog from jumping. You know, it's a very inexpensive fix, but you just give them the illusion that they can't jump over the fence, and they do. And then we just kept one woman's dogs in the yard, but they were digging, so we just, you know, bricked around. It was it's not my favorite work to do, but it sure makes a difference, and we're going to go back because now the dogs are jumping on one side. But she was an individual who clearly needed the help, really cared about her dogs, and one of the dogs was older, had not been spayed yet. We were unaware of that at the time, so I just got her into the SPCA to get her spay done, but there was clearly something wrong, and they were uncomfortable because there's not a full-service clinic, so we made arrangements for her to go to a private vet, and we're going to pick up the cost so that the dog is okay. She probably has a tumor or something, so we're going to pick up the cost on that.
Well, that's so nice. I bet she appreciates that.
She's a wonderful woman, and she's going, okay, well, I'm going to talk to the other people in my neighborhood, because we need people like her talking to the other people in the neighborhood about responsible pet ownership, you know, and just because it's like any other marketing campaign. You know, let's say try smoking. It was okay 30, 40 years ago, but now due to marketing, it's absolutely not acceptable. So this is a marketing campaign that we're running, and it's just with the proper motivation or whatever, and maybe hearing it from your neighbor as opposed to somebody who's coming into your neighborhood telling you, well, it has to be this way. It'll just become commonplace that this is the way it should be.
Speaking of marketing, how do Dallas Animal Services use Facebook?
We have a Facebook page, and social media is challenging in that it takes a lot of time to manage it properly. We recently have started making more use of our Facebook page and doing some more regular updates. We try and highlight specific interesting things that people may not typically hear about because, you know, we don't have the media coverage that a lot of organizations would. So we'll showcase, like on Mondays, we celebrate our Rescue Partners of the Week. And that's where we actually post the top 3 rescue partners, rescue groups that have pulled animals from Dallas Animal Services for the week prior. So we celebrate our partnership with them and the effort and the commitment that they've made to helping animals survive here in Dallas by pulling animals for us. We also will showcase, you know, with Animal Services, we also have the rescue side of what we do. You know, animal control officers are first responders. They're the ones that, you know, go out there and get that call for the kitten in the drain, and you know, or unfortunately, or fortunately and unfortunately, when it's an injured animal or a person just is in a strange situation with an animal problem. So we have a lot of kind of tongue-in-cheek, funny stories that we get from our Animal Services officers. We also have a lot of really endearing ones. So when we have a special case, we showcase that. And there's wonderful adoption stories or event stories that we put up there also.
Well, now tell us about the Dallas, is it Companion Animal Project?
Dallas Companion Animal Project. It's about 8 months old now. It was started by us, about City Council Commission. We both happen to sit on the task force. It's a collective of ideas that are developing a guide to helping the city become no-kill, because it's not, no one entity can do it. Certainly not us, certainly not Dallas Animal Services. It has to be the entire community has to buy in, and again, it's a marketing thing, you know. So everybody can decide what it is they're going to do that's going to make a difference, and I think it's going to be a life-changing situation for not only the animals but also the people in our community. If we make it a better place for animals, it's probably going to be a better place for the people as well in the community. So I'm really excited about it.
Speaking of that, animal abuse is so tied to human abuse, and that's been proven over and over again, that any project that makes it a better place for animals to live makes it a better place for our kids and our families.
Exactly.
Yeah,
safer place.
The link between violence and you know, neighborhood crimes and the way animals are treated are so closely related. It's also very closely tied to domestic violence issues. So there are many reasons, you know, that animal issues in our community are so important. They're also very frequently tied to gang activity, drug activity, gambling, illegal gambling activities. So again, there's many reasons. The Companion Animal Project, though, is the official task force of the City of Dallas, and again, it's just got such a wonderful opportunity to collect the resources in our community. All the people harness the energy of all the corporations, the businesses, the individuals, the rescue groups, the sheltering organizations, and pull them all together and do the most for the animals in our community as well as the citizens. So we're collecting resources. There's a wonderful resource page on the Dallas Companion Animal Project website that talks about different pet-related resources available to people in the City of Dallas. Our community advocacy partnerships, all our things. So right now we're in the first year of trying to pull together some good data, some suggestions from our community. We had over, I think it was over 300 suggestions came in through our web account on the Dallas Companion Animal Project, just from, you know, everyday citizens that really want to make a difference with things that they would like to see happen for animals in their community. So now we're putting a plan together that'll implement some of those suggestions.
And you really are making a difference. There was an HSUS study 2 years ago in November 2010, and I know, but talking before we were on the air, you told me that you've accomplished all but 1 or 2 of the suggestions they made for improvement, and that makes it a far better shelter than it was a year and a half ago. So
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. And it was an easy transition. Now, many of the things that they recommended when you've been sheltering and working in animal control as long as I have and have a passion for working with animals were accomplished fairly easily. So as I said, I have to say hats off to the Dallas Services team, because they really embraced the change and embraced it wholeheartedly.
Well, and hats off to you guys both for being here. We really appreciate it, and you bringing Jasper. And you can find out more about Dallas Animal Advocates online. You can go to their website and check them out at www.dallasanimaladvocates.com. Also, Dallas Animal Services. We'll be right back. Welcome back to For the Love of Dogs. I'm here with Arthur E. Benjamin, and Arthur actually just had a birthday.
Aww.
And one of the things, I thought it was actually the greatest thing, you actually developed a program called It's Better to Give Than Receive on Your Birthday. How cool is that? That was really great.
It is great. When my late wife was alive, she always got her best present on my birthday. So I started looking at, a couple of years ago, what can I do on my birthday somewhere in the country for animals that would be a gift? And so some of my friends have started to do the same thing. And so for their birthday, they do something. And I was very excited this year to do a few things.
Yeah, well, that's really a wonderful idea, and so unselfish and so compassionate. And it makes everyone look forward to your birthday.
Well, at least the dogs do.
True celebration. Well, not just dogs. I mean, you help so many different animals and have such a love of animals, and I've seen the way animals respond to you. You know, it's pretty incredible. But I know that you work with a vet in Florida, and what is it? It's Paws to Help?
PawsToHelp.org.
Tell us about that.
It's on the internet, Paws to Help, www.pawstohelp.org. They're low-cost veterinary. So the inner city, and this is in the West Palm Beach area, and the inner city populations don't have the money to take care of the dogs and cats that they love. So they are low-cost veterinary located in the city that does work at about 20% of what it would cost to go to your average vet, and so they can take care, they can make the payments and take care of them. So a $2,000 operation might be $400 there. So for my birthday, what I did is they have a van. So like we have vans here in Dallas, I sent the van out to 2 locations, and they did on March 17th and March 18th, St. Patty's Day and the next day, they did 2 low-cost clinics for the inner city folks with their animals, and it was a rousing success. They treated things like respiratory diseases, nail diseases, the things that normally aren't handled. They did vaccines. They didn't do any spay or neuter. You'd have to come down to the clinic for that, but they got a lot of animals in and out of the vans. It was great.
See, that's so nice.
And the animals all sang happy birthday.
And they sang happy birthday to you. Why wouldn't they? You're their hero. And, you know, I know you do a lot of work here in Dallas, but I know you have homes in Florida and in Utah. So really, you're all over the nation helping these animals.
Well, it's not just over the nation. You're with me.
You're right.
We just showed the seal episode. So it's become international. It's a lot of fun.
It's true. Yeah, that was...
Very privileged to be able to make this kind of difference with my life.
Well, and that's incredible, and that's what we were talking about. If we knew at 29 what we know now, you know, how much more of a difference we can make. But I got to say, you're doing a tremendous job.
You're admitting to being over 29?
I'm admitting on television to being over 29.
Well, I won't admit to it.
Well, let's get off that, because I don't like that subject. No, I'm joking. But let's talk about the Tri-County Doggy Ball.
Oh, Tri-County Doggy Ball.
What's that about?
Tri-County Humane is a no-kill shelter. And it's just a shelter that they house anywhere from 100 to 200 animals.
Oh, wow.
And and they keep the animals until they're adopted. So when they're full, they're full. So it has to be a lot of turnover, and it takes a lot of support. And Jeanette Christos passed away last year. She's seen with the cowboy hat photo with me, and she was the driving force. Jeanette was the most loving, driven, crazy at times person. Everybody said the animals always understood her, humans not. But she got a lot of coverage on television and a lot of coverage on the the news shows for animals, and made a huge difference. And the doggy ball is a celebration of life, a celebration of family. That's my family and friends. And it is just the way to go and celebrate being together and saving animals. And it's just a lot of fun, dancing, auctions, and there are events like that in Dallas all the time. Like the Collin County Humane Society has their own event once a year, which we talked about on a previous show as well. And it's a lot of fun.
So it's an actual ball.
Yeah, and it's an actual ball, and so
auction.
It's just like the Collin County Humane Ball here. It's an annual ball, a fundraiser for those no-kill shelters.
Wow.
And I just did one of those around my birthday and the SEAL trip. So
yeah,
it was a great birthday this year.
You did a lot. You always do a lot, though. Well, are there any other areas that you want to go into? I know that you just recently went to Virginia.
Yeah. Right now, the country is in a bit of a state of confusion about how to use the bond between the bond, which is Wayne Pacelli, the CEO of the Humane Society of the United States book, wonderful book, by the way, but the bond between humans and animals, and the difference that they make with our soldiers coming home with post-traumatic stress syndrome and with sexual trauma disorder. There are soldiers I've been with, and these animals being trained in prisoners, so it makes a difference in the life of prisoners, makes a difference in the life of a soldier, and it really brings them back faster than drugs, not alone, in combination with other therapies, but it's a therapeutic release for a soldier to have a dog at their side at all times, a service dog, and to be able to rely that no one's going to walk up behind them and that they're going to be alerted when they start to become anxiety-ridden is a tremendous service the dog provides, and I'd say naturally to the right human being.
Yeah, of course, and I think probably just having that bond, you know, and being able to trust and love again, and you know, all of those things that when I think people are away, especially overseas, you know, fighting, I think they lose a sense of that. So
well, there are a lot of wounded warriors and wounded warrior battalions around the country, and they could be really helped by dogs. And that's one of the projects I'm working on now, is how to unify this across the country. And
I know that you're going to make that happen. You already are. I mean, at this point, you're doing everything. So thank you so much for talking about some of your favorite causes. What I would actually say is go to www.americandogrescue.org to find out what we're going to be doing on the show, to watch any of our old shows, and to make a donation to the variety of different projects that we have underway. Absolutely. And you have to like us on Facebook, and you have to like us on YouTube. And you have to look at us on Twitter. Absolutely, because we twit. We do. I love saying that. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Thanks for joining us.